Hello, and welcome to the Safe4Life Everyday Self-Defense Podcast. My name is Lorna Seelig. My company is Safe4Life, Self-Defense and Personal Safety Training, www.safe4life.ca. In this podcast, we talk about best practices to implement in our everyday life to ensure safety and awareness and peace of mind for ourselves and for our loved ones. We recognize that personal safety is a deliberate way of life, much in the same way that wearing a seatbelt while driving is a deliberate way to keep ourselves safe on the road. We might not be able to prevent traffic accidents, but we are prepared and we're protected if ever we are involved in one. And we believe a similar concept is true of our self-defense and personal protection practices. So today we welcome Lynn Profitt. Now, Lynn is the visionary behind Living Currents Energy and Life Coaching. I love that title, Lynn. That's amazing.
Oh, thanks, Lorna.
As an energy and life coach, she's a speaker, she's a workshop leader, she's a creator, she's a podcaster, and soon to be a published author, which I think is very cool. Good for you, Lynn.
Well, thank you.
Lynn has the ability to connect universal energy in everyday life, and she helps her clients do the same. Now, I love this quote, Lynn, that you had sent to me. She shifts lives into the world of unlimited possibilities. Wow, that sounds so cool. Talk about that. Tell me what that means.
Well, Lorna, honestly, everything that I do now, not just in my work and my business, but actually in my own personal life, it all stemmed from, I guess, in a sense, if you want to say, all the crazy experiences I had up until the point where I took into account universal energy and started learning about it. And the shifts that it made in my life were unbelievable. And the funniest part I always laugh about is how easy it actually was.
Cool.
You hear people struggling with so many changes they want to make, and probably one of the biggest ones for me was actually drinking. And I drank for years. And I think a large part of it actually, which I didn't really realize, was that I was probably a little bit different than a lot of people. But of course, especially as a kid, you don't want to be that different. But I was very connected to energy early on. I just didn't realize it, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I always felt kind of, I guess, out of the main social stream.
Yeah.
So drinking kind of got me past that, but I managed to do that for good 30 years. And, most people probably would have called me a functioning alcoholic. But once I got into the energetic world and started realizing that, holy cow, like, we've been taught to be so limited and to be so, and I think that's why actually we use the term, thinking outside of the box. I was like, why are we in a box in the first place? Like, it just doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But we have been taught to be so limited. And when I started looking at universal energy and started just even making shifts in my life, just even seeing the world in a different way, it literally was like I woke up one morning and I didn't need to drink anymore. I didn't really want to. Like, I'm fine having a few drinks, but I barely drink at all. I don't need to. And so I can if I want to, but I don't have to.
That's perfect.
So something that seemed like it should have been a very big challenge happened easily. And it was all just about shifting my energy. So, yeah, so now, it's pretty hard to take all the fantastic changes that have happened in my life and all the great things that I have going on now and not share them.
Yeah.
Like, that just seems crazy. So, yeah, so actually it's, the intent of basically what I do is helping people just to rediscover, in a sense, who they are and start living from that base. And the base is energy.
I love it.
Yeah, so
good for you. Well, and it's interesting to me, Lynn, that you actually came from the oil and gas world.
Yeah.
Which is I mean, obviously it's energy, right? But just a different kind of
Very
energy.
different energy.
And
Yeah.
so when you, and I didn't know that about you until just recently, that you had said that you had come from, you owned or partially owned an oil and gas company, and all of a sudden, wham, you're shifting into energy, healing, and consciousness, and all that stuff, which is completely out of the oil and gas,
Oh yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's an about face and then some, right?
Yeah, yeah, and yet, and yet it makes perfect sense. Actually, it was kind of like almost having the extreme opposites.
Right.
It was almost like I had to be over here
Yeah.
to understand that where I needed to be was over here.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big shift,
Yeah.
and yeah, in some ways, actually, it's still a little bit of a challenge, shifting how I think of myself and how I see myself, and how I, and still considering how other people see me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely was a big shift, but it's more than worth it.
Yeah, good for you. So, Lynn, I have some questions for you as part of the interview here. Um, so, Lynn, what are some ways that you in your own life practice awareness and alertness and just safety, personal safety in your daily life, coming and going, to in your community, with your friends, with your families, with your family? What are some practical ways that you put personal safety into your life?
Well, I'm sure this is going to be a very different answer than you get from a lot of people, but probably the biggest thing actually in my world is awareness, and not just with the five senses. It is paying attention to the energetic world and how I sense it, because most people, or a lot of people, sense it in very different ways. I understand how I sense it now. So if I just pay attention to my own energy, I can get a feel of, what's around me. A lot of it is because, our entire world, our universe, our selves, with everything being energy, there is the connection.
Yeah.
And it's, a lot of people call it the field, or, a lot of people have seen the movie The Matrix, and, it's a similar terminology that describes how everything is connected. So if something is off and doesn't match with my frequency, I can sense that in one way or another. And often, because I'm fairly in touch with my own energy, I can also determine to what extent I'm looking at a situation. Is it something I just need to walk away from? Is it something that, actually requires me to be involved in something? But I do get that energetic sense of what's happening around me. And, like I use that when I'm driving. And in fact, like, I kind of have to laugh, because I think my mother was the queen of worrying, and I definitely picked up on some of that. So, driving at night, driving on icy roads, it's like all of a sudden I'm worrying about really strange things that make zero sense to me whatsoever, or I never had in my life before. But I also trust, actually, that the universal energy actually can work for me. So, I mean, there will be times that I'm driving, and, to people that aren't into energy, this is going to sound like I'm absolutely crazy, but what I actually do, and I do this with the house and a lot of other things of myself, is, in a sense, I build an energetic bubble around me that keeps me safe. And it builds a certain feeling of confidence, actually, knowing that, yeah, the universe is always going to keep me safe.
Yeah.
And as soon as I have that confidence and that feeling and that thought process, that's the energy I'm putting out there.
Absolutely.
And so that's, yeah. And so that's a lot of what I do in tons of different situations. Yeah.
And that's an important piece. And we speak of that. So so being present and being aware is about what energy, how are we picking up on what other people are doing out there that could or could not, be safe for us. But how are we also presenting ourselves?
Yeah.
So that we are showing people we are confident and in control and like we've got this, right? And that's what you're talking about with your bubble, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got your bubble and you're going out into the world and you're taking on the day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
which is different than going out into the world being afraid and worried.
Very much so.
Scared, right? Totally different scenario. So have you ever had an incident where, or can you share an incident where your instinct or your intuition might have kicked in and caused you to take a second thought, a second look at something that was going on? And what did you do about it?
Well, it's funny because actually, just on a regular basis, I use that driving every day. Edmonton drivers are not known to be the best, and we seem to be exceeding that these days. But it is amazing, actually, how I don't know how many accidents I've avoided because it's almost like I sensed somebody was either going to drift into my lane or cut me off or whatever. But I have avoided a lot of things that way. Probably actually a lot of the experiences you're kind of talking about as well, I had while I was in forestry. And often at the time, I spent quite a bit of time alone in the middle of nowhere in the forest. So of course there's, bears, there's moose, there's, a few other things that are definitely, not up your alley you want to run into, at least in some ways. But and even back then, before I was really in touch with my energy, there was always a bit that sense that there was something else around. And I know there have been more than a few times that I've left an area because I just had that feeling of being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And, and it was, like I said, I wasn't even in touch with my energy then, or I guess consciously in touch with my energy, but, obviously I knew enough that, something didn't feel right and I paid attention to it. Awesome. And there were, I can think of one incident where I did leave a cut block and I was outside of the cut block and I was just deciding, okay, what am I going to do? And sure enough, actually, I watched a bear stroll out of the bush and, walking right across pretty basically where I was. And it was a large bear. So thank goodness I left.
And you were gone. Yeah. And so did you have a sense then that you needed to leave?
Yeah. It just, something felt uncomfortable about being in that cut block. And, like I couldn't tell you what it was. I couldn't tell you anything. I just felt uncomfortable. So I left.
You acted on it.
Yeah.
And that is key, honestly, because one of the things that we as adults do is, and we do a really bad job of it, is listen to our intuition.
Yeah.
Right? We have had our instincts and our intuition almost sort of poo-pooed out of us, right?
Yeah.
It's not that we don't have the instinct, we definitely do. It's
right.
that we don't react to it and we don't respond to it. And you and your perfect example of the black bear or the whatever bear it was, absolutely. You never know if that bear was looking for lunch or if it was just sauntering through the field, right?
Yeah.
But that you felt it and you acted on it is brilliant.
Yeah, and it is amazing. And well, as you put it, that listening to our intuition being poo-pooed out of us.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a very big part of it. And I think Lauren, I explained to you a little bit earlier, actually, while we were just chatting, that, we were born with that sense, that awareness, and that connection to energy. And the way we're taught, just through beliefs that have been around for so many years, so through generations, through schools, through church, through just social situations. Never mind, now we have TV, social media,
Yeah.
all these other things that we don't even realize are bombarding us with all of these certain thought patterns.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we have actually been taught to have the thought patterns that are, once again, like I said, within that limited box.
Yeah.
And we don't have that sense anymore. And like I said, energy is a language.
Yes.
And we had it to begin with. So once we get older, if you get back into it, it is just like learning that language over again. So we all have that innate ability to do it.
Yeah.
It is, it's just a matter of, a lot more awareness and trusting.
Yep.
Yeah.
And trusting it. That is the big piece, is trusting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got a couple of quick little questions for you, Lynn.
Sure.
What book are you reading right now?
You know what? Actually, funny thing is I'm not reading any book right now. I just started a new course.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
course?
It is actually energy healing. It's a course by Donna Eden, and it has a lot of actual practical component to it. So learning a lot of
read.
What's that?
You don't have time to read except textbook.
No, not really, actually. I have to keep going back over the workbooks actually and watching the videos to just remember what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Because there's, like I said, there's a lot of practical to it and shifting your energy. So I honestly have to admit I'm not reading anything right now.
Good. Well, that's perfect. Another question. So if everyone did, I want you to fill in the blanks here. So if everyone did blank, the world would be a safer place.
Holy cow. That's actually sure. It's just a fill in the blank question. You made it sound easy. How about multiple choice? Let's see. If everybody... I would say, you know what, if everybody understood the connection between between people and our world, it would be a huge, huge change in not only safety, but, just everything. It would be a completely different world. We just forget that we're all connected, and one person being victimized isn't where the impact stops. So there's just too much to the connection. To not make changes once you understand it.
It's true. Very true. Very true.
But that was a hard question.
I know. I was trying to. I know. It's too early in the morning for hard questions. My apologies. So Lynn, is there anything you want to tell us about your company, your work, before we go? We've got about 5 more minutes here. So if there's anything you want to share with our listeners about your work, please do.
Yeah, actually, Lorna, it's... because you and I have talked before, and with all the things I've been doing now is showing people that energy it literally is our everyday existence, whether, we're aware of it or not. And the more we become aware of it, the bigger changes we make. And they come from such an honest place, such a true to yourself place. And, we spend so much time, like we talked about earlier, getting who we truly are learned out of us or taught out of us, I guess. But, in a way that's even not bad. Mm-hmm. We need to realize too, is we have to have all those experiences that may not be comfortable at the time or anything like that. in order for us to really understand and become our true selves.
Yeah.
So, no, we're not always going to be happy 24/7, 365 days a year. We're here to experience. And, if we take out looking at things that we consider bad and start to look at life as just an experience. Yeah, things are going to be uncomfortable. There's no two ways about that. But I mean, our emotions and our feelings are like signposts. And they're just directing us to, oh, yeah, this isn't really who I am, so I should go a different direction. Or there's something about a belief that I have that really doesn't fit, who I truly am. And I just, really want people to get outside, or really just get rid of that box altogether and start just living a more incredible life and seeing the endless possibilities and being able to recognize happiness and recognize themselves without the input of others. Because how many decisions do all of us make, for ourselves, based on what somebody else might think?
Yeah.
And we really don't even realize how much of it. And I know a lot of my coaching clients, that's a lot of what we work through is, where are your decisions? Like, what are they based in? Are you considering what your parents would think?
Yeah.
Are you considering what your friends think? And, that's part of the challenge. So, through my coaching, actually just helping people through that, through the public speaking, actually, it's just an opportunity to let more people know that, what, energy is out there. We have known this for years. Just because it's not in the mainstream, there are people that dispute research that has been done for years. They dispute things that Einstein and Tesla said. They call people that with spontaneous remissions, oh, it's a miracle. No, it's not. Our bodies are made to heal themselves. We just have to allow it to happen. So, so much of what we perceive as, like a lot of people call it new age, or, oh, there has to be something wrong with the science. No, it's like, no, it all fits into place. It really does make more sense than the world that we live in and the world that's been taught to us. So, so actually that's, mostly what I do is just helping people just disintegrate that box of what they're living in.
Well, and it sounds like, Lynn, so much of what you do and what you know is just, it's everyday knowing, but at the same time, it's stuff that we need to deliberately think about, right? And conversations with you, Lynn, always, from my perspective, are so insightful and deep, and all of a sudden, whoa, I hadn't thought of that before, right? And I love that. I love that because it stimulates me to think sort of bigger and think deeper, which is super cool. Cool.
Awesome. No, that's what I hope for.
That's great. Wow. So do you have anything, how can our people reach you here today? Do you website?
Actually, my website, it's a little bit under construction right now, but it will be up and running shortly. The old website is there. It's just not updated. It's www.livingcurrents.com. So just Living Currents, all one word, all lowercase. And there is a contact page on there. I will be offering a free meditation as well. And just to, a meditation that just actually helps people to open up. And actually, it's kind of more like stopping or slowing down the brain activity so that you can open up from your heart center, which is the strongest connector we actually have to the universe. So, I will be offering a free meditation there as well for anyone that's listening today. And so that's, I guess.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you, Lynn. You're amazing. I just love your like your insights and your words are just blah, blah, blah. It's awesome. It's absolutely great. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
thanks so much, Lord. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for joining me today. And we will. You know what? You and I'll be in touch, Lynn.
Yes, we will.
Take good care.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.